I never thought soul ties was a real thing until I realized I've had one for over 20 years. But I think based on what happened on this day that I'm about to recount, God had had enough. Don't ask God to remove anything or anyone from your life if you're not truly ready to let it go, because you're going to end up continuing to invite them or it back into your life. Why did you even ask in the first place? It's like a friend who asks you for advice and you give them all you got, and they end up doing the exact opposite and then get upset when it blows up in their face once again. Lessons in life are repeated if you don't learn them the first time. You'll know this is true if you ever found yourself in the same kind of situations or with the same type of people. One toxic thing about me is I tend to give people more chances than they deserve. Trying to avoid conflict, I try to keep the peace because maybe I'm just being too sensitive. Anyway, a few years ago, I asked God to remove people from my life who should not be there. And this particular person that I've known for over 20 years was gone for a good while, but then came back into my life after I told them about themselves and they apologized. And mind you, this was after me asking God to remove folks. Anyway, we talk here and there, maybe twice a month or so. And what I noticed that over the last 5 years or so, they were just different than at the beginning of our friendship. Perhaps they were slowly being revealed to me for who they were all along. Or maybe my eyes were just opening to it. I don't know. But one night, I was just about to start my nightly routine. My nightly routine consists of reading the Bible, writing some notes about it, and then writing my prayer. But the phone rang, and I picked up. In hindsight, I should have left it ringing. And for you, dear viewer, if you ever are about to start or are in the middle of your quiet time with God, fight your distractions with all of your might. Because what happened next was insane. First thing, the vibe was off during the whole conversation. They were just different. I don't know if they'd been drinking, smoking, or doing something else. Or maybe none of it. I have no idea. I was getting frustrated, annoyed, irritated throughout the whole interaction. They were asking weird questions, conversation starters, and they weren't accepting my answers and accused me of making up stuff. It was horrible. I felt uncomfortable. Shaky inside is the only way I can describe it. Remember when you were a kid and if you ever gotten scolded by an adult and you felt like hurt or ashamed? That. But there was no yelling. Remember I mentioned my toxic trait at the beginning? Well, instead of telling how I was feeling and possibly getting into an argument, I kept it inside. Y'all, I really didn't want to take an argument or anger with me to bed, so I held it in. When I say it felt almost intentional and abusive, I mean like purposely confrontational for no reason. I was confused and felt uneasy. I have never felt like this before with them. Something that I am coming to terms with is these traits that I noticed in the last some years were most likely always there, but I must have just ignored them or made excuses for the behavior. I never felt further away from this person than that night, like they were purposely trying to push me away. I stayed on the call a little longer, don't ask, but it became too much and I told them I had to go. The next morning, I was thinking about the conversation and got angry at the ridiculous conversation and resistance to my answers. I got so upset, I started to cry. Yeah, that's what I do. When I get really upset, I cry. It was a potpourri of emotions, actually, from anger to sadness to confusion and even shame. Later that day, they sent me a video. I think it was supposed to be funny. I don't know because I never opened it. I couldn't believe that it was just another day to them, and that made me angrier. I ended up crying again, but this time I also prayed for them that whatever they were going through, they will get past it and recognize that they cannot do life without God in it. And then I released it. As they say, it's above me now. I can no longer talk to them because now the conversations are negatively affecting me physically, so I have to walk away. So I blocked them. At the end of anything, but especially a friendship, there's like this mourning period. But I feel like God was saying, look, you asked me to remove people out of your life that shouldn't be there. I did, but you kept inviting them back. So I had to do it this way. And I have to be okay with not having closure because of their tendency to turn things around. But I don't wish any harm or ill will on them. Whew. Before I tell you some things that I learned that could probably help you, go ahead and like and subscribe. So number 1, if you ask God to remove people or things from your life, you do not get to tell him how to do it or how to remove them. I never imagined it going down like this. But I tell you one thing, I definitely do not see myself ever getting in contact with them again. It hurt a lot. Number 2, God gave me a voice for a reason. I need to use it. I will never let anyone talk to me like that again. Number 3, listen to that God voice inside you, that feeling of something told me. People will show you who they are, but sometimes they will even tell you without realizing they're telling you. And a lot of the time, it is an indication that there is something deeper and problematic there that will reveal itself. Number 4, I said it before, but fight for your quiet time with God. Distractions will throw you out of alignment and will probably leave you hurt. Well, hindsight is 20/20, but I think we both overstayed our welcome in that friendship. You know, that's a pretty powerful and kind of scary prayer to ask God to remove people out of your life who should not and cannot go with you into your next stage, but I do think it's necessary. You may not like how it happens, but hopefully it will give you peace after it is done. If you've gone through a similar situation and successfully broke that bond, put it in the comments. I'd love to read about it. And until the next one, take care.